What does Christmas mean to me?
For me, actually Christmas didn't mean anything to me growing up. Christmas was all about Santa Claus. And then when I got to know Christ, finally, Christmas means, yeah, Jesus' birthday. It's so different. It took on a whole new meaning for me now. Yeah.
So Christmas to me growing up has a more significant impact because when you're younger, families, extended families as well, we all gather together and there were presents, there was a lot of fun and surprises.
I think Christmas is a time of feasting, of good food, of spending time with family and friends. But of course, I think Christmas also celebrates the birth of Jesus, and He is the hope.
Yeah, because we cannot gather as a whole because of COVID. Then of course it's not like huge parties with my cell group and all that. So, but it's down to me and my sister's family, and it's still, it's all about that warmth, right? Christmas is all about that warmth, that warm and fuzzy, hot cocoa kind of feeling. So it was great. Like I celebrated with my sister, and because my sister's family is also a Christian family, so we managed to go around the table, talk about what we're grateful for. And it just helps to align the year. Like, you're ready after that day, you're ready for the next year.
Honestly, I think because my family isn't Christian, so I think it's always just a reason to gather, because Christmas right? So family just comes together, we eat. It's not even traditional like Christmas food. Like sometimes it's like Japanese food, it's whatever we feel like eating, right? So I think in previous years, you go to Orchard Road, you see the lights, it's very pretty. There is that feeling, and also I guess on TV and all that, there's all these songs, you hear the Michael Bublé singing Christmas songs, right? Wow, really got the feels. But I guess how last year was different is, it was the COVID period, right? So I think the thing that is in the news is a lot more negative. We hear a lot more about COVID news, the bad news, and I think generally last year the vibes were not great lah. So I think last year perhaps there was less of a Christmas feeling. It was just the end of the year. Like people are just glad that it's the end of 2020, So, and I think I can't remember exactly what were the restrictions then, but I know that there weren't many parties. So, and also just to be safe, right, to protect one another. So instead of the many parties and gatherings I got to go to as per the previous years, it was probably just dinner with with immediate family and maybe one or two friends, and that was it. So it was quite muted last year.
I think for COVID, it definitely affected work. Acting, there isn't much opportunity because production is always put on hold and then continue.
But you started playing TikTok.
With
your father.
This is my face, first week of circuit breaker. This is my face, second week of circuit breaker. This is my face, fourth week of circuit breaker.
I work my whole life just to get right, just to be loved.
I think when you have so much free time on your hand, you start looking for avenues to find to entertain yourself lah. Like be it from friends, from social media, you try to find activities to make you more happy. Yeah, just be positive overall to overcome all these tough times.
I think for work, I guess even before COVID, because some people might know I'm in Kin, which is a Channel 5 long-form drama, and I've been doing that for 3 years. So it started even before Kin. So I think even that, right, Kin on its own is already a very big blessing from God, because I think in our industry, projects are very ad hoc. We live from project to project. our paycheck is project to project. So Kin was a big blessing for me because it is non-stop, right? It's a stable income, which is very rare in our industry. So even before COVID hit, right, I was really very thankful that God blessed me with this like stable income. And so when COVID hit, I mean, it was very obvious all around us. Around me, there were people that were struggling, friends who I guess were worried about their finances. But for me, even though work was disrupted because we had to stay home and all that, Kin is still there waiting for me to come back. I think the biggest shift in my life in this past COVID season is more about relationships. I got married. Woohoo! I got married right before COVID hit. Again, huge blessing from God that my wedding, which I think you all attended also, right? Yeah.
Hello, I sang it.
Yes. Oh yeah. Sorry, sir. Yeah. It was very nice. Thank you.
I think it was great. Really, I thought that you were very lucky as well. Like just right before all the restrictions, right?
#blessed.
So blessed.
But it's true. I was very blessed that it's the first weekend of March. It was the very last weekend for like a bigger wedding. Right, the weekend right after that, right, it started, the restrictions came in like 250 and then 200 and all that. So very, very blessed that we had it in the first week of March. But okay, so after getting married, then my wife moved into my parents' place and then obviously lockdown and we were all stuck at home, right? So I think it was tough for me and for my wife because, I mean, even without COVID, right, I'm sure you can imagine it's quite hard to adjust to living with another person. Because everybody has different habits, right? Whether you close your toothpaste, the cap, whether you squeeze from the middle or the bottom, things like that lah. Obviously, those are just examples, but we had to learn to adjust to living with one another, and we didn't have the space apart from each other, which of course I love my wife, but imagine being trapped with, trapped is such a strong word, right? But we are stuck in the same room, two people's lives.
Oh, you said it.
Oh no, it's recorded.
You better
No, but it's true. No, which she agrees. We've had this conversation before, but like it's like two people kind of stuck in the same room for months. There's no escape. So I mean, whatever frustration, whatever friction there is, right, it's stuck in the room. It was quite a big adjustment lah for everybody, and it wasn't just me and my wife, but everybody's in the house. So she has to adjust to my parents and and all that. So it was not easy, even without COVID, and with COVID coming in, it was quite tough lah. But of course, we got through. I'm still happily married, and I think also, I think by the grace of God, my wife is a Christian as well. So I think throughout all our disputes, our friction, I think very thankful that we both had God in the center of our relationship. Where I think we tried our best to resolve our differences according to, I guess, the wisdom that we get from the Word of God. And I think that really did help in our relationship, in adjusting to married life. Yeah.
Just like, I mean, they are in the acting industry, right? I'm in the singing industry, the music industry, and music industry was so badly hit. Like, production can still go on and off, but live singing is just prohibited. Like, it was just like, no. So I know a lot of musician friends who started doing Grab. They just have to diversify lah. Or a lot of people go, like set up their home studio quickly and then start to do sessioning and all that. Or live streaming came in play. For me and Tia, as Chavan Shen, obviously it was super quiet. But like the interesting thing is that like I was not worried at all. I just trusted God to just provide, and then we managed to do a live stream concert, and then I think in December they opened up further for live performances, and that moment they opened up, Esplanade came and let's do a concert together, and then we did a 500 people kind of concert. I mean, it's not a lot, it's just 500. And it's at a 1,008 venue, we're like, it's so sad. If only we could fill up this place, right? But, we take what we can get, and we were just so blessed to be able to do that 500 people PAX concert, and it was totally sold out in 10 minutes from the moment that it opens, and we just feel really blessed throughout. I definitely had like moments of depression and stuff, not because I was worried about money, but just how things were, you know, like there was so much negativity, like people are going online, scolding the government. I had to really pull myself back and like, okay, just cut off social media for a while. And I started to go out jogging with like worship songs. I guess, you know, like the moral of the story is that like actually we can get through a lot of stuff if God is with us. Like even though I was not worried financially, but I was just feeling so much negativity. I was feeling depressed. So it was very interesting for that opportunity to get close to God again. Yeah.
So, you know, when I think about joy, right, you can compare it with like, you know, happiness and joy. Happiness is more like an outward thing, you know, like, oh, you got a lot of money, you feel happy, or you know, you won a lottery, you feel happy. It's all very superficial. But when it comes to joy, I feel that, you know, it's more inward. It's more about having comfort and peace. So when I come to grow closer to Christ, I feel that, you know, there's this greater sense of joy that's coming from within. You know, when COVID hits, when there's a lot of problems I face, I didn't feel as hopeless as I would feel if I didn't have this kind of joy, when I didn't have God's comfort, I would say.
I think, yeah, I agree that we often equate joy and happiness. Or at least that's the understanding that we are familiar with, right? Happiness comes from whether it's achievements, money, good food, in Carrie's case, or relationships, right? We all try to chase to be the most popular, or, you know, we have the coolest friends. And all these things are not wrong, right? They are great, it's not a bad thing. So they do bring happiness, you do feel it. But as we saw in the past 2 years, right, when COVID hits, when the world changes, right, things change so quickly, and you can lose things very, very quickly. That sense of happiness you find in your job's security, maybe, or in your friendships when you can gather every weekend, right? Suddenly it's taken away from you, right? Then you realize that actually happiness is very temporal. It's very fragile. So for me, I think joy, like what they shared, I think my idea of joy is, it's not happiness, but it's actually a sense of peace. My joy comes from God. Knowing my place in God, knowing that God loves me and that God has my future in His hands. And so my identity, my future, my finances, my relationships, it is not dependent on the world. It's not the things of the world that can be taken away in an instant, but it is on a God who is eternal, a God who is constant, and a God who is faithful. There is an uncertainty, but I think deep in my heart there is a confidence, there is a joy that, like, you know, whatever happens, like I guess Carrie shared just now, I'm okay, I'll be fine, because I think God will provide for me, whatever it is. And that's where I think that deepest sense of peace and calm sets in, and that is my joy. It is not happiness, but it's a confidence. Yeah.
So for myself, I was born in a Christian family. But as I grew older, you know, I feel like my perspective and my relationship with Christ changes. I think for now, you know, Christ is one of my top priority. Trying to be closer to Christ, trying to grow more with Christ. And it gives me a lot of happiness and joy and peace in my heart, knowing that there is life even after death. You know, there is something that's eternal. There's something to look forward to.
So the first time I experienced it was before I said the sinner's prayer or become a Christian. I had been attending church a lot with my friends because, you know, they asked me to go, and like, okay, these sermons are interesting. I just treat it as motivational speech, you know. I take the God out of it, like, yeah, I feel good, you know. So I started going to church. But one day I was in Malaysia. I'm a Malaysian, right? So one day I went back to Malaysia in JB. I remember I parked my car at this underground car park. I don't usually like to park in underground car park in Malaysia because you don't know what will happen. So I went up to a cafe and, you know, I had my coffee. As I was walking back, I realized that my car was not locked. Because usually my car, if it's locked, the ear will so right? So walking towards my car, I was like, oh, siao liao. I think my passport is gone. I think my cash card is gone. At least my cash card will be gone, right? I was like, siao lah, confirm kena ransacked. But as I was walking there, like I was quite anxious. I found myself started praying to God. You know, like, God help please You know, then as I went into my car, first thing I checked, hey, passport still around. Hey, cash card still around. Nothing was taken. And then I heard a voice. And that voice said, of course, I'm here to protect you. I tell you, even like years later as I'm talking about this, right, it was goosebumps and like I remember that feeling of warmth just like 好像做戏这样 like zoom come into my body. And like my heart was just overflowing with joy and I started crying and I started worshipping Him. I was like, God, you're so good. I can't believe how good you are and how much joy you bring me. I've never experienced that before.
So I guess you're never too far, or you don't have to be good enough.
Yes, actually you don't need to
God
know.
to love you. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even have a Bible, but it was enough to just reach out and God just comes in and change your life.
That's the heart of God. He's reaching out to you even before you know Him. I think for me, my story with God, I grew up, I guess, very confident in myself. Because I started acting when I was 11, so I was quite popular in school, and generally I do quite well in school. So I'm not proud in the sense that I go around like laughing at people, but there's a very deep sense of like I'm not bad lah.
You have no need, right?
Yeah, there's no need. Like
I totally understand that.
Yeah, I'm pretty not bad. So very confident in myself.
Life is great.
Yeah, life is great. my family is also relatively well to do. So just no need lah. And I grew up feeling like probably there is a God or gods, but I don't feel like I need to submit myself to that. I'm in control of my own life. And long story short is, when I was in JC, I actually retained. I then passed my promotional exam from J1 to J2 lah. And I think that was a big moment for me in my life, because that was the first time in my life where I really tried to do something on my own strength and I failed. That period of time I tried my best and I didn't get through. So I think that shook my confidence and my worldview that like I am enough. And then just nice, my friend invited me to church and I came and the people were nice, the songs were nice, so I just stayed. I was very free anyway during the holidays, and I started to listen to the sermons. And also I think like Carrie, like it was encouraging, so it's just good vibes lah. Might as well just stay. And somewhere along the line I decided that like, in the same way actually Carrie's story is very similar, that like there's nothing to lose. Let me just give it a shot. For 3 months. If it happens to be fake, then never mind lah. I'll leave lor. No harm done. But if it's true, then I stand to gain a lot. And so that's what I did. I gave it a shot. And I think over the next 3 months, as I started to read my Bible like a good boy, my leaders tell me to do it, I just do it. Didn't really fully believe it, but okay, let's just give it a shot. And I started to see how God was very real in my life. I think God started to answer mini prayers like the bus will come, the rain will stop. And not just in my life, but I started to see in the people around me how God was very real in their lives as well. Like God answered their prayers, God was very, very real in their everyday situations lah. So it wasn't just me. If it was just me, maybe I'm going crazy lah, or I'm imagining things, but everybody is experiencing God. And so over time, I think that's how I became a Christian lah. That's the story. And I think the biggest takeaway becoming a Christian is that security that I found in God. I realized that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have it all figured out for God to love me. In fact, God loved me 2,000 years ago when He sent Jesus to die on the cross for me. Even before I knew Him, before I could even love Him. And that was my worth lah, that I'm worth His own Son dying on the cross, just so that I can be restored back to God. Like He can bridge that gap between me and God. I know that God loves you as well. Whoever you are, whether you are a Christian already or it's your first time here, you're listening to this message, these three weirdos talking about this Christian God, what is this about? You may not know much, and it's fine, because I didn't know much when I began. Carrie didn't know as well. Joel, born into a Christian family, but as he grew older and he matured, he learned and understood more things about God, and God became real in his life. And so I think the same way, as long as you are perhaps a bit curious, you have this need for confidence, a peace in your heart, why not just give it a shot? God is already reaching out to you, so you just need to take one small step and He's going to run to you. So come and know Christ this Christmas.